Good to speak with you again. So the head of the observer mission has called the situation in Homs reassuring, seeing no clashes and relative calm there. But only 2 days ago, there were reports that 20 people were killed. What do you think we can expect from their final report?
Well, I think that the final report will be a pretty much preordained conclusion that there will be findings that the Assad government is not doing enough to listen to the concerns of its citizens. But I'm not sure what is more ridiculous about this story. The idea that the autocratic thugs of the Arab League states are going to presume to pronounce on the democratic leanings of the Syrian government, or that the international community is supposed to take what they say with any sort of moral authority. Clearly, these are not people in a position to be lecturing on this, but I think, as I say, I think the report has been pretty much preordained, and I would be very surprised to see that it concludes anything other than the fact that the Assad government is to blame for what's going on in Syria right now.
Who do you think would be a better objective third party to assess the situation there?
I'm not sure it's really the responsibility of the international community to be involved in this in the first place. I'm not sure exactly what grounds the international community has to be coming into Syria to presume to be able to dictate to the Syrian government what it should be doing with its people, any more than we would expect the Syrian government or any other league of states under whatever supposed international authority coming into, for example, Washington, and presuming to tell the Obama administration how they should be dealing with the Occupy protests. I mean, that would not be that's just a non-starter in any sort of international discussion. But for some reason, in the Syrian situation, it seems to be a perfectly viable idea. But of course, this is just all political theater that's being played out for the benefit of the public that is obviously unwilling to go along with military intervention unless there is the decree of some sort of body that's seen to, or at least we're told, has some sort of moral authority to pronounce on the subject.
Now, Russia is praising the Arab League observer mission, hoping that it can at least ease the situation and resolve some of the conflict so that there'll be no need for UN resolution. What's your view on that? How efficient do you think this mission could be?
It could, presumably, actually avert military intervention if they do come out and say that the tensions are internal and need to be dealt with internally. But again, as I say, I don't think that's what it's ultimately going to conclude. But we certainly have to hope that that is the case, because as we know, military intervention in Syria would be an extremely destabilizing event in the region and would lead, I think, almost inevitably to some sort of confrontation with Iran, if not with eventually with other states in the region. So I think it is absolutely imperative that this mission does defuse the situation, but as I say, I'm not hopeful for that possibility.
Now, some are hoping that the observer mission will make it clear that among the opposition groups there are those who are armed and actively resisting with weapons the Assad regime, also to blame for provoking this violence. Do you think that's a likely finding of their report?
It's certainly, if this report is to deal with the facts on the ground as they are, one would almost inevitably expect them to conclude that. As I say, I'm not hopeful that that will be the case, but certainly even if they do come out with that in the final report, I find it very difficult to believe that that would be trumpeted at all in the Western media, as that's a topic that so far has not been given much coverage at all in most of the media that's been presuming to cover the story, but has been conveniently leaving out the fact that the protesters are armed and have been attacking Syrian forces as well, and that issue has not really been dealt with so far at all in the media. One would assume that would be conveniently covered up, and if that was to be one of the findings of this report.
All right, James Corbett, editor of the independent news website CorbettReport.com. Thanks for your perspective.
Thank you.